Hey, welcome back.
No more. I will not tolerate any more fake news. Those of you who know me know that I dislike a lot of things, but one of my biggest pet peeves is when people who brand themselves as morally righteous and credible sources of information turn out to be blatantly dishonest and signal boost poorly researched information. A perfect example of someone who fits this description is Repzilla. Oop, my bad. Alright, that's better. Now, Repzilla is a content creator that I came across around the time the MiniLadd controversy started gaining traction. To give credit where credit is due, I did find his coverage of the MiniLadd situation as well as the individuals involved to be pretty well done. However, recently I came across some past situations of his that show he isn't as much of a stand-up creator as I previously thought he was. I will admit that I am late to the party on this, as Repzilla's pattern of dishonest reporting and scummy behavior goes back to over 2 years ago. However, seeing as he's recently started exhibiting behaviors he has previously promised he would change, I think it's important to go over these situations. So, without further ado, let's get right into the shit show. One of the worst things, at least in my mind, that Repzilla has done was when he accused a former fan of being a stalker. An Australian creator called Marsii went in depth into this situation and even interviewed the girl herself. More on Marsii shortly, as he's butted heads with Repzilla quite a few times. Back when Repzilla was a fairly small creator, he became friendly with a viewer from Canada who regularly commented on his videos. The two began privately messaging on Facebook, and soon they began an e-relationship. Eventually, Repzilla invited the fan to fly out and hang out with him in Tennessee, and gave her his address. The fan went onto Google Maps and noticed that the address that Repzilla had given her was in a trailer park. Now, obviously there is a stigma around trailer parks and people who live in them, and as a person who had never met him before, it's understandable that she would feel uneasy about flying to another country to meet him. So the fan declined and expressed her discomfort. However, she still expressed to Repzilla that she still wished to maintain a friendly relationship. Instead of respecting her feelings and being the respectful person he so desperately tries to portray himself as, Repzilla got pissed that he didn't get what he wanted, and went to his audience claiming that the fan was a stalker who tried to dox him, even though he sent her his address.
We were talking on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And I reached out to him through Twitter because I seen that he made a video about me.
Oh,
and
okay.
I said,
Yeah.
you know, like, I remember asking him, like, why would you put me in the video? Like, I didn't say you could give me, like, I didn't give you permission to do that. That's when he started blocking me on all platforms.
Okay.
He went on live streams where he would show the private messages, the fans' comments, her name, and images of her as well. This led to her getting harassed to the point where she had to deactivate her social media.
It was a live stream. I thought it was just another YouTube video because I wasn't watching the live stream.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
only seen it afterwards.
Yeah. So there was the live stream where he spoke about things that you'd said and then showed your picture and like
My
on YouTube.
comments and my private messages.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know why I don't know why that's still online. Like it still exists to this day. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I have a copy of it and
Oh, okay. So do
I
I.
saved it. So you had mentioned to me, since you are more connected to Repzilla, that he had mentioned to his followers that he wrote a police report about me.
Yeah.
Saying that I was at his house, I was stalking him, I was harassing him.
Yeah.
And sorry, I was scratching my head.
No, you're fine.
And he basically made up lies that I was at his house, and I don't think that that's possible because I live in Toronto.
Yeah.
And he lives in Tennessee, and it makes no sense that I would pack up my stuff and leave work from Monday to Friday. I work Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And I just leave work and I'd pack up and I'd just randomly go to his house in Tennessee. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty interesting how Repzilla preaches how people need to respect each other's boundaries, but here not only did he not respect the fans' discomfort to try and understand it from her perspective, but quite literally violated her privacy by making up a story about her being a stalker bitched to his fans, and then sent them to harass her to the point where she deactivated. You know that I said this might be one of the worst things that he's done, but alas, dear viewer, it only gets worse from here. Much, much worse. Remember how I mentioned Marsii earlier? He's a small creator who has been at the forefront of calling out Repzilla's scummy behavior. One major point he brought to light was that Repzilla doesn't actually do any research on his videos, or at least if he does, it's heavily influenced by already existing opinions from other creators, and Marsii happens to be one of those very people. Marsii had asked Repzilla to credit him in his videos as a source/inspiration for the video topic, as Marsii would help suggest video ideas and topics to Repzilla. In his video, Speaking of Repzilla, Marsii also shows examples of videos where Repzilla cites information that Marsii had gathered, but fails to credit or link him in the video or the description.
So if you haven't guessed, his video is about I'm Poppy being cancelled. And so he goes on to talk about it, and he uses a Reddit post, which is my Reddit post. He deliberately mispronounces the name. I'll show you how he pronounces it. Actually, first here's a thing of his Google search about it is Poppy cancelled, and you can see that my video is shown on his initial Google search.
And I got this cool Reddit page here. It says,
so maybe he thought it was odd that someone would post their own video on Reddit. I mean, no one else would do that, would they?
So if you can't see if the screen is too blurry, Repzilla uploaded a video to Reddit.
is I'm Poppy cancelled? This came from Alarsakati.
So just for some context, that username was Marsii's username that he used to have when he was on the internet. And he used that username when he was DMing Repzilla. So Repzilla very well knew who that was. And it's very kind of apparent with that context that he was mispronouncing that username to try and cover his tracks.
So Alaska YT was not my initial, but my second username for Instagram, which is why it's used here. It's also used as my PSN and I think a couple of other things. It was a musical name I went under, and YT obviously stands for YouTube. As you can see, there's not a single mention of the Reddit post or myself in the description of the video.
Instead of simply giving Marsii credit or shouting him out on his videos where Marsii suggested opinions or topics, Repzilla went on to act like he didn't know who Marsii was, even though they had a friendship prior to this, as well as featuring on Rep's channel for a video.
Marsii. I like Marsii. Some there. We love us some Marsii. Let's like that. We just liked his video. Hey, he's even got me in the link. You are a awesome person. I'm just gonna I'm gonna be one of the many that say that. So if you've not watched Marsii's channel, you definitely need to watch Marsii's channel. Marsii, we love Marsii. I have here there it is. I have here with me Marsii. Hi Marsii. Are you there?
Hello?
There he is.
Yeah.
We have contact. So Marsii helped me put together this, actually he pretty much created this quiz, but this is a really good quiz to test your intelligence.
Yep, definitely looks like he didn't know Marsii. He also accused Marsii of being a stalker and a doxer, even saying that Marsii doxed an image of him that he used on a thumbnail. Oddly enough, it was an image Repzilla himself gave Marsii permission to use on the thumbnail. In fact, Repzilla was so comfortable with Marsii using images of him that he sent Marsii the picture that Marsii ended up using in the thumbnail, along with a couple other images of himself, might I add. The funny thing is, he said that Marsii also doxed him by sending his personal Facebook around to other people. However, that wasn't true.
Actually, let me highlight this comment by Grim, right? Because Grim said, Repzilla said Marsii found his personal Facebook. Supposedly, Marsii showed Repzilla Facebook to others when he was private about who he is then.
Lovely.
Huh?
I said lovely.
Yeah. Now that's not exactly true,
No.
right? And I think it's best to clear the record. So, how did Repzilla's personal Facebook get out there to you specifically and to others? To my understanding, all at the same time.
Well, so I don't think I found it the way others did. I think you're referring to I think it was like in the description of videos or something.
Yeah, he linked it himself. Like, you weren't digging around on
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
because this is important, because he makes it sound like you dug around, found his private Facebook, and got access to it, right? But that's not really what happened.
No, except that wasn't how I found it. How I found it was I went to his Facebook fan page that he has, and he had accidentally posted as himself on there rather than posting to the page. So I clicked on that, messaged him and said, hey, don't know if you know, but you accidentally posted as yourself. And I sent him a screenshot of it. And I'm pretty sure that those messages are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's...
And the thing is, and if because I believe Repzilla had said this himself in the video where he called you a stalker, was that he had added multiple people when he had done that. It wasn't just you. Now, he's made it public since then, to my understanding, but multiple people got his Facebook based on that, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other part of this is, supposedly Marsii showed Repzilla Facebook, etc., to others when he was private about who he is then. That is not the accusation. The accusation is that you showed his Facebook photo, right?
The photo, yeah.
Okay.
There was one time where Repzilla did in fact give Marsii credit on one of his videos in the description. The only issue was he gave credit using Marsii's real name, which wasn't public, and left it up for a few hours before taking the name off.
But first of all, I'd like to mention a case where he did actually reference me. As you see this image, you're probably thinking, but he didn't reference you. I was my Tanix in Cargo. That used to be my YouTube name. And before that it was Alaska. So he did actually reference me in this description. But what thankfully actually isn't there anymore was that he actually referenced me, and I tried to find record of this but I couldn't, but I know, and you can kind of tell because there's a extra space. Like, if you look at my Tanix in Cargo, you can see that there's a extra space at the end, which shows that he edited it. But he actually credited me with my full name. That's great.
It sure is ironic that the person who's always accusing other people of doxing has a habit of doxing people himself. Apparently there's also a petition to take his channel down for releasing personal information on other people back in the day when he made his Poppy and Mars Argo videos. In Primink's Google Doc, which Marsii helped compile, there are screenshots of DMs where Repzilla threatened to abuse the copyright system in order to take down Marsii's videos where he talked about wanting credit. He actually did successfully take down one video and almost took down another one as well. So yeah, now we can add abusing YouTube's copyright system to silence criticism to his list of misgivings. All Marsii wanted was for Repzilla to give him credit in videos that he had helped provide details with, and instead Repzilla goes to his audience with a fabricated story that makes himself appear as the good person who was taken advantage of by a stalker.
I had this girl that was a stalker. She was taking pictures of me that were not public and posting it out there. And this person did the same thing. They took my picture that was not public and posted it on their YouTube thumbnails and talked about me and put my name in their titles, in their descriptions, tags and everything. This is somebody that was helping, but because I was helping him, he used it as an opportunity to tell other people, well, oh, I'm friends with him on social media. Oh, he subbed to my channel. Oh, he did all this. Ain't got nothing to do with I'm just a good guy and I'm like trying to like just help the guy out. Like I have multiple conversations in the personal DMs where I'm like helping him out, and that's all it is just help. In fact, the difference between mine and his content is visual. I spend 8 to 12 hours on my videos where he maybe takes 15 minutes. And I felt bad because I always wanted to share my wisdom with him because he was an aspiring YouTube channel. And I just wanted to do everything I could to just help the guy out. That's all I wanted to do. You know, that's what I'm about. And I was going to actually spend thousands of dollars for him and buy him new stuff. Just not because of anything other than that's the type of stuff that I do.
Oh my god, enough with that clip. I'm done. Like, seriously, Repzilla, shut the fuck up. Nobody gives a shit. Pretty much all of that was just grandstanding. Oh my god. He sent harassment to Marsii, as well as abused the copyright system on YouTube to silence criticism. It's especially unsettling how he even left a comment on Marsii's video, telling people to like the comment after the copyright strike was sent. The Rewired Soul is a YouTube channel hosted by Chris Boutte, who branded himself as a mental health/therapy channel, even though he didn't have the credentials that qualified him. Repzilla used to be friends with him, and like with Marsii, regurgitated talking points when making a video trying to discredit Primink's critical video on the Rewired Soul. Funnily enough, when the popular opinion shifted, Repzilla pretended like he never knew Chris and tried burying the previous friendship by deleting videos in defense of him. The reason I mention this is that it shows that Repzilla has a habit of being friendly with people and then throwing them under the bus when it benefits him. While I did say that Repzilla sending harassment to a fan because he didn't get his way was the worst thing I think he's done, his situation with Leif E Greenz is by far the most disgusting. Leif E Greenz is a small creator who has a channel where she talks about her mental health and has since started to take a more musical approach with her channel. When she was critical of the Rewired Soul, Repzilla reached out to her for an interview, where in said interview, he calls into question her mental health issues as well as her diagnoses, asking repetitive questions with the intention of trying to get her to slip up so he could discredit her and make her appear to be a hypocrite. In his now privated video, he went over the interview he had in Twitter DMs and showed messages between him and Leif E where she reveals some very personal information. It's important to note this, as before the video was made, Repzilla told her that he would not include messages in the video that contain personal information for the sake of privacy.
Leif E Greenz, who is somebody that he is said to have diagnosed, I reached out and asked if I could ask her a few questions about it. She said, yeah, and she went on to explain why it made her upset. She first starts out with, for one, I made my first video about Chris because I thought it was so disgusting that he continued to make videos about Trisha Paytas having BPD after she denied having it. I go on to say, to be clear, you are not diagnosed with BPD. You don't have to answer in the beginning. I only wanted to know if she was ever diagnosed with BPD. She says, I've told you straight up, I think BPD is problematic diagnosis that shouldn't exist. I have complex PTSD and I am a survivor of emotional and sexual torture. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm not trying to break this person down or anything like that, whether or not you feel BPD is or should exist or not, it's out there. And I'm interested in your complex trauma theory. It's interesting. She said, you can easily discover by watching my videos that I have indeed been diagnosed with BPD by a doctor who specializes in borderline personality disorder. My question is how did you get to that point? We're not going to go into details on that, but it does make me think that if you were there to see a specialist, you were probably referred to the specialist.
Leif E saw the video, and understandably this upset her, knowing that Repzilla had lied about protecting personal information she was told wouldn't be shared. She then went on a live stream where she proceeded to have a mental breakdown, clearly broken and distraught over the fact that Repzilla not only leaked private information, but painted a narrative that she was a hypocrite, which led his fans to harass her. It came out later from leaked Twitter DMs that 2 days after her mental breakdown, Repzilla was DMing creators with dirt he dug up from Leif E's past, including her real name as well as her old social media accounts. He encouraged these creators to make exposed videos on Leif E Greenz, clearly trying to paint her in the worst light possible, and then proceeded to tell the creators not to mention or reference him in any videos, probably as not to ruin his moral high ground persona that he fabricates. Going after a fan, fabricating stories about a stalker, and abusing the copyright system are all pretty terrible, especially for someone like Repzilla who props himself up as someone who claims to care about victims. However, him going after a mentally unstable woman, knowing she would be an easy target to pick on, and then making her private information public, and then encouraging others to go after her to spiral her further into despair is beyond deplorable. Knowing how far he tried to go with this situation is a clear example that Repzilla doesn't give a fuck about anyone other than himself. This situation isn't as big as the others on this list, however, it's still worth bringing up because it once again is a perfect example of Repzilla going out of his way to lie in order to maintain a picture-perfect persona. Basically, old tweets Repzilla made resurfaced, which happens to pretty much anyone these days, where he made edgy comments about black people as well as calling someone the F-slur. Now this might come as a shock to some of you, but I actually don't care about what Repzilla said in those tweets, but what I do take issue with is what he did when they resurfaced. Instead of owning up to what he did and saying they were jokes or that he's changed, he reported people quote tweeting those tweets saying that the tweets were fake. What's pretty funny is this dude was in full damage control mode, because while he was trying to silence people calling him out as well as claiming the tweets were fake, he was simultaneously deleting the tweets. What I find absolutely hilarious about this situation is that Repzilla really called the tweets fake when before he deleted them, anyone could click on the tweets being passed around in the quote tweets and it would take them directly to his account. Like seriously dude, how stupid could you be to fuck something like that up? This dude makes Creepshow Art look like a genius for changing her YouTube profile picture and banner to glitch images and told her audience her YouTube was hacked to try and distract them from the drama when her lolcow stuff began to leak. Eventually, like with all lies, Repzilla was pushed into a corner where he then had to make a video responding to the situation, where he goes on to push blame onto the people who dug up the tweets, which is a classic move of his. What really was aggravating was when he said after, quote, looking into the tweets more, I'm not really sure how you do that. I mean, dude, you deleted the tweets. He came to realize that the tweets weren't fake.
So when I actually got to looking at it, I realized that these tweets were not fake. They were real. I was like, whoa. Because I was trying to figure out how did somebody fake a tweet and then put it on my Twitter.
Congratulations, Rep. You finally figured it out. Some slow learner you are. I don't mean to sound like a broken record here, but you deleted those tweets. To put more icing on the cake, Repzilla claimed that he remembered he was a teenager when he made the tweets after looking at the date they were posted, which was back in 2013. Alas, this is yet another massive lie, as Repzilla was 24 in 2013, and for anyone in denial, it literally shows his birth date on famous birthdays, and basic math proves that he was in fact 24 when those tweets were made. I'm not sure about any of you guys, but 24 greatly exceeds the status of being a teenager, although he doesn't act like one. But Repzilla, just because you act like a teenager does not mean you are a teenager. To put a cherry on top of this case, he once again shifted the blame, saying that in 2013 he had admins running his Twitter, and that it must have been one of them, which literally contradicts the previous lie he told. Like, this dude is so hyper-focused on taking the attention off of him that he really can't keep a consistent story, which just ends up creating a Streisand effect. Frankly, I think anyone in his audience should be insulted by him doing this, because he clearly thinks that they're too dumb to even figure out he's lying. It doesn't take a genius to figure out how dishonest he is here. If Poppy stans can figure it out, anyone should. Primink's video on Repzilla was probably the biggest hit that Repzilla's channel had to endure. I highly recommend you watch Primink's video, as a lot of the evidence shown in this video comes from that Google Doc that he and Marsii worked on, and I would appreciate if you showed some support on his video. The video on Repzilla was a follow-up to a video made on the Rewired Soul, critical of him claiming he was a mental health channel. After Primink uploaded the Rewired Soul video, Chris made a response which was quickly followed with Repzilla making a video of his own, where he pretty much parroted the same talking points. Repzilla's fans flocked Primink's comments, going after him due to this incident, which, as seen in previous situations, may have been directed to do so by Repzilla himself. It's odd because Primink actually reached out to Repzilla to give him a chance to tell his side of the story. However, whenever Repzilla would make claims about Marsii Marsii or someone else, he avoided giving Primink evidence that he claimed to have. Again, please watch Primink's video, as it's best to hear him talk about his experience through the whole situation. After the video dropped, Repzilla actually DM'd Primink, asking him to take the video down. He claimed the video helped him learn, but also accused Primink that his video was leading to harassment of him and his fans, of course not providing any proof to back up those claims. He also released a brief public apology.
And I take full accountability. I'm not here to make excuses. I'm just here to tell you I'm sorry if I've offended or hurt anyone, disappointed anybody. I do want to apologize to Leif that she keeps getting brought up and drug into this. It was my own fault.
Regardless, and rightfully so, Primink refused his requests. Eventually, Primink and Repzilla went on a livestream moderated by Edwin's Generation to clear the air, with the intention of giving Primink a chance to vent his issues with Repzilla, and giving Repzilla the chance to respond and address the criticisms he had received as a way to take accountability for the damage he had done. However, when Primink would try to ask Repzilla his reasoning behind certain actions, Repzilla would attempt to derail the conversation by either appealing to emotions or giving out too much irrelevant information to drag out the debate longer than it needed to in order to tire both Edwin and Primink out. He was very repetitive in the video, and it came off like he was doing this just because he had no good argument to make against Primink.
I'll be like honest, like I like Primink's videos. Like Primink knows that I've told him like multiple times I got nothing against him. If he's doing his thing the way he sees it to do, that's fine. That's okay. I wouldn't try to sway anybody's opinion otherwise.
Okay, but
it's
you
just
did.
that
You did, Repzilla. You as soon as Primink posted this video, you posted a community post saying that, well, guys, don't listen to what he said because I've already said stuff. I've already
multiple
everything. So
the dramas that he speaked on were things that I've already talked about.
yeah, but you already trying to push that
didn't-
narrative. You trying. Like,
You already talked about them, but you didn't talk about them well. You didn't explain yourself. And
I
I
don't
want
know-
you to explain
I'll own
yourself
up to
now
that.
in your... What?
I'll own up to that. I didn't explain. I understand that the miscommunication is that my own inability to portray things across accurately, 100%. And this is something I'm constantly working on. I mean, I'm constantly working on my. It's a thing I'm constantly working on and have been working on since my accident. And I hope that I get better. But even making videos in general is a struggle. So if I mess up, that's something that I own 100%.
So, well, right now you should own that you called you did try to sway people's opinions, saying like don't listen to what he has to say, like, and said, Repzilla, seriously, we discussed this. This is proven to work against you. Please rethink this. All explanations mounting are being picked apart. That's why I'm saying, like, you gotta be like short and just kind of like try not to explain yourself too much because it's not working in your favor.
Marsii was my friend. Marsii doxed me, and
Doxed you? How'd he dox
did.
you?
Used pictures from my personal Facebook, and he also put it in a video.
You gave him permission to use pictures of you. They have DMs of that. You're also a public figure. Your face is not private, so he did not dox
The
you.
picture that he used at the time was not a public picture.
Doesn't matter. You are a public figure. Every picture of you is public. You
Those
do not
things were
own the
not
rights to
public.
any picture you put on public Instagram. They could sell your photo right now. You don't own those once you put it on their site.
It's sad but true, man. Facebook fucking owns your soul once you're on there.
The problem was it was going to be easily identifiable of my Facebook.
You change it. You don't try to take down his channel.
I did do that. After the fact. But when I reacted, I told him what was up. So I changed it. And
Repzilla, you gotta say you fucked up though, because
yeah, I did. Like I said, I've admitted that I was wrong when speaking to Marsii. But Marsii's also admitted in his wrongs too. And when I did those strikes, they were privacy strikes.
To make matters worse, 2 days after, Repzilla had a live stream where fans asked him about everything. Repzilla went on to walk back his public apology and went on to say that the criticisms of how he treated Leif E Greenz and the racist tweets were misinformation, as well as implied that he was a victim of cancel culture.
What are your regrets about this whole drama? My regrets are, I've been too forgiving of people that have done me wrong, such as Marsii. I forgave Marsii over and over again. I kept letting Marsii do bad things to me. I knew he was doing bad things to other people, and I kept trying to help him. I kept trying to get him to see a better way, and in the end, it burnt me. He turned on me, and manipulated people into thinking that I was a bad person. And if anything, I've learned that in order to protect my community, to protect my livelihood, I have to separate myself from people like that. What happened to me, cancel culture is awful, guys. I couldn't even say that I was a victim, because people would say, you're lying and you're playing the victim. Not every person that's a victim is lying. And it was awful. It impacted me both professionally and personally. Before I made my video showing evidence, people wanted me to own up and take accountability. And then I seen some things that I needed to take accountability for, such as not understanding the people that I was interviewing, or not understanding who the people were that I was collaborating with. So those are legitimate criticisms. But all the other things, the racist tweets, these tweets were not fake. They were real. Making money off of suicide. Friends and family of Kate have reached out to me and really thanked me for making this video. Taking advantage of mentally ill people. She first starts out with, for one, I made my first video about Chris because I thought it was so disgusting that he continued to make videos about Trisha Paytas having BPD after she denied having it. I go on to say, to be clear, you are not diagnosed with BPD. You don't have to answer in the beginning. I only wanted to know if she was ever diagnosed with BPD. She says, I've told you straight up, I think BPD is problematic diagnosis that shouldn't exist. I have complex PTSD and I am a survivor of emotional and sexual torture. The things that were in that video, those just were not true. Those were false. Those were misinformation and complete dishonesty.
Of course, he also fails to back up all these claims with evidence. Just a Kid Who Rants, also known as Colton, is a small commentary YouTube channel. It's also worth noting that at the time this situation happened, Colton was 16. Back when there was some shit going on between Repzilla and his now ex-girlfriend Maya, Colton was talking about the situation where in one video he shares some of Maya's medical documents that Maya sent him herself. Repzilla made a video in which he accused Colton of doxing Maya, showing Colton's face and DMs, as well as went along with false claims that Colton was in possession of child pornography.
It is distributing and has admitted in possession of Repzilla's girlfriend's
which sparked his audience to then harass Colton, even though Rep did say in the video to not send harassment to Colton.
I also do want to emphasize on something is you are absolutely not going to go give hate to this kid. This is a 16-year-old kid. Don't send hate to 16-year-old kid.
He knew exactly what was going to happen anyway, and made no effort to step in and disavow after the fact. The harassment got so bad for Colton that Steve DeLive, another YouTuber, decided to make a joke tweet about Repzilla's brain injury as a means to take some of the hate off of Colton. This whole situation could have easily been avoided, but Repzilla decided to insert himself in the situation so he could get content, which ended up turning the situation into a bigger shit show than it already was. Remember how I mentioned how Repzilla covered the MiniLadd situation? Well, when CallMeCarson was a hot topic, Repzilla made a video talking about the situation in where he compared the situation to MiniLadd's, saying they were similar.
When I first heard about this situation, it was trending on Twitter with MiniLadd. I'd been covering the MiniLadd situation very in depth. I did major interviews with the individuals involved. I suggest that you guys check that out so you can see just how similar this is.
Which is extremely disingenuous. Essentially, he said that Carson, a 19-year-old in a consensual relationship with a girl who is 1 month away from turning 18, was just as bad as MiniLadd, a pedophile who told a girl he would end his own life if she didn't send him nudes. The comparison, like with everything Repzilla reports on, is slanderous and disgustingly inaccurate. Okay, to start this part off, I'm gonna have to give a quick background. Bianca Devins was an influencer who was tragically murdered. Gabbie Hanna made a video where she was looking for outfits to recreate the look of an e-girl, which led her to an article about e-boys and e-girls with images of the variety of outfits they wear. Gabbie was only looking at images, and an image of Bianca caught her eye. Because Gabbie thought the shirt in the image that Bianca was wearing was cute, she commented as such, which caused numerous T channels to hop on and make videos saying Gabbie Hanna disrespected a murder victim, and twisted the narrative that Gabbie was using Bianca for views. Repzilla was one of those channels, and in a video covering the situation, he goes on to say that Gabbie chose to read a murder article about Bianca in the video where she was looking for e-girl outfits.
Gabbie Hanna did a video probably about 3 or 4 days ago and pulls up an article, a full-on article that shows Bianca Devins, and the disrespect was on another level. I mean, she has a legitimate murder article. She's pulling it up as examples for a video.
This was a blatant lie, as Repzilla omitted the context that Gabbie was looking for images of outfits and chose an article about e-boys and e-girls. That is not a murder article. He even had the audacity to link the article in the description of the video where you could clearly see the article was not about murder. Bianca's mother actually caught wind of the situation when Gabbie privately reached out to her to apologize for any pain or harm her video might have caused, to which the mother forgave Gabbie and said she didn't think Gabbie did anything wrong. Gabbie then deleted the video and uploaded an apology about the situation, sharing the conversation she had with Bianca's mother with the mother's permission to do so. Repzilla made a video about it and said how the apology wasn't enough, despite saying in his previous video that Gabbie removing the video and or apologizing would be the action he thought could correct the situation. He then even went further and criticized the mother for saying Gabbie was in the wrong, claiming that if the mother knew more about Gabbie like he did, maybe she wouldn't be so quick to forgive. That's just kind of my shitty Repzilla accent.
Bianca Devins' mother probably doesn't know who Gabbie Hanna is. Probably doesn't know a thing about the dramas that she's been involved in the past. So basically the stranger hops in the DMs and says, hey, I'm extremely sorry, I did this thing, it was unintentional, I didn't mean to. Well, of course Bianca Devins' mother is going to be like, oh, well that's okay, because how many people do you think that are just going to be mean in that situation? Think about it. How many people do you think are going to like get all up in arms in a given situation like that with no context about a person or who they are? I put it in another way is like person A says to person B, hey, I did this thing, it was unintentional, I didn't mean to do it, I'm sorry. You're going to be hard pressed to find a person that's going to be like, oh, you didn't mean to do that? Well, I don't accept your apology. I hate you. You like, it's human nature to forgive, and that's what we're seeing here.
Not only did Repzilla blatantly misrepresent the story in this situation, but he even went as far as to discredit and criticize a mourning mother's willingness to forgive someone in the light of her daughter's death, all because her feelings on the situation didn't line up with his. It's also worth noting that he said Gabbie used Bianca for views, which is pretty ironic considering the fact that Repzilla has a true crime video on his channel talking about Bianca's murder.
The disrespect was on another level.
When the focus on T channels and their constant misrepresentation of information started rising due to Gabbie Hanna's return to the internet commentators found Repzilla's video saying that Gabbie Hanna read a murder article. His video was heavily criticized, rightfully so, on how blatantly dishonest and manipulative he was. Tommy C and Nicholas DeOrio were two creators who were the most critical of said video. Repzilla didn't take too kindly to the criticisms and decided to DM Tommy on Twitter, and his messages, at the very least, show how dishonest he is. He tried challenging Tommy's criticisms of him, where he states that Gabbie reading a murder article and using Bianca for profit was his opinion, even though that is objectively untrue. He also bragged about how he's an advocate for victims and that his platform saves people, then calling Tommy's own channel into question, asking him what he does to help the cause. Whatever the hell that means.
That's not what it's about. It's about getting it fucking right, not being manipulative. You're being deceptive. I'm not accusing you of lying. I don't know if I said lying once the whole stream. You omitted critical information. Fact. Because had you not omitted it, people could have looked like, yeah, that's kind of low, but I can see how that could have happened. Because she's making a video on e-boys and e-girls. So maybe she wasn't reading the text. She was just trying to collect photographs and articles to come up with whatever concept she was doing. It's that simple. You knew that.
An article with most of it and then 2 paragraphs about the murder. Yeah.
I could have explained it to you if you haven't ignored me and you did an improv live stream. Shitting on me. I actually didn't do an improv live stream shitting on you. I didn't explain. I wanted to use this fucking example as why people support Gabbie Hanna, whether she deserves it or not. Don't tell me. This is when I knew I was going to drop his DMs. Don't tell me what I do for survivors, as I am a survivor myself. I have given my all for that cause. Don't talk to me like you're fucking stupid ass fans. I'll get to that in a minute. Even giving portions of my YouTube AdSense rate 10K this year. I'll stick it up your ass. That was for you. I don't buy any of your stuff, and I'll go over some other stuff that shows you that more than likely I can actually show all the rotten shit you did, which is actually a pretty lengthy list, maybe even longer than Gaddie's, just through Primink's video alone. I don't want to take a step without helping. What have you done towards the cause? I sucked my own dick for fucking for $10 on a goddamn Twitch stream. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you kidding me?
Comment. Let's go.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? And then he writes, witch hunt? Just don't reach out to me again. So now I'm going to show what I sent him back.
Oh, you have a video.
I actually literally got super fucking pissed off. Like if somebody can fucking write me and this is all right. Fine, whatever. I don't give a shit. Hey, Raps, don't bullshit me like you bullshit your fucking fans. Don't sit there and act an insult towards you. And by the way, what I said about Bianca's mom was an insult. Insult. It's not my opinion that you omitted critical information and used weasel words. You can see that in your video. And I wrote back obnoxiously, if only Bianca Davis's mom knew what you knew, she would have helped you on your witch hunt. I'm very impressed with myself. I go, you don't give a shit about victims, and this is about your channel. Get out of my DMs, you make me sick. You seem to be pretty fucking upset that she didn't hate Gabbie like you did. So it really kind of killed your whole goddamn narrative that this is the worst thing in the world. And you did omit information about that article not being about Bianca's murder. You know why? Because that was fucking convenient. So don't sit there and say like I put words in your mouth. That was an insult. I didn't say that. You did. No, I did say that. I was insulting you, stupid. And I'll tell you something. Don't DM me again. I saw what you fucking did, and that's the end of it. I don't give a shit if you were a victim. You can stick that straight up your ass. You fucking sit there and bitch about Gabbie Hanna, and now you're gonna say, but I'm a victim. Well, so she. So suck my dick. There you go. And suck my dick. I mean, really. And this is where it gets great. The picture she was talking about was next to the article that described her murder. My very valid criticism, by the way, he has not addressed my criticism that he omitted the overall arc of the comments, was, I never said that the criticism wasn't valid, even in the video, was a very valid criticism. How could she not see this? How could her editor not see this? Here's the thing. If you tell the people that the article wasn't about this and this was only 2 paragraphs long, that changes everything and you know it. The purpose of my video was to raise awareness towards an apology, which it did. Yeah, it did. And then it wasn't enough.
Yeah,
it wasn't enough. It was more than enough for her fucking family, the only people on this planet that matter. But not for Repzilla. Let me guess, less hits. And it did. You have a 70,000 fucking hit difference between the 2 videos. The other video was going over her apology, which many didn't cover. I did. And if you had watched the rest of the video, you would hear me say, I'm glad she did it. That's not what I criticized you for. I don't care if you said that or not, and I wouldn't believe you meant it if you said so. This is a good thing. I also talk about some channels hate her and only talk about, hey, and they should not. Watch the fucking video next time. And then he obnoxiously sends me a picture of what the definition of article means. All right? He has completely ignored the fact that I said he admitted the entire context of the article. He never suggested once that this could be an honest mistake. And when she was forgiven, he seemed almost disappointed and even reiterated my DMs with him that had she known what he knew, maybe she wouldn't be as generous. I am summarizing, but that's the way it went. Repzilla leaked DMs all the time. Nobody in this chat should be complaining. If negativity horses will rise to the place. Yeah, you're probably right. So, oh, and you know what? I'll show this one. And your comments about me being a survivor are out of line. What were my comments about him being a survivor?
Well, we haven't said anything about him being a survivor.
No, I didn't. I told him I don't care and he'd stick it up his ass. Those are my exact words. I don't care. I said it publicly.
Everybody has problems.
Not only did I watch the video, I played it live stupid. And it's really clear that you deliberately omitted the information that the article in question was not about that girl's murder. You used fucking 2 paragraphs to tell your audience that that was about murder, and that's how insensitive she was. And I never said anything about, it was out of line. What did I say that was out of line about your victimization? You know, the same victimization you don't afford anybody else, especially if they're a part of your witch hunt. I said, I don't care. Write it down. Put it in big fucking lights. I don't give a shit. It's none of my fucking business. I don't live in your world where everybody's got to bow fucking down every time there's something horrible happening to them in this world. So I tell you what, I'm going public with this shit. I'm showing your fucking DMs. You can't fucking take criticism. I wasn't even going to go after you much more than this, but I'm going to show people how you use a shield and how you don't afford it to other people. Have a nice day.
Now, I'm not sure about you, but I find Repzilla in those DMs to be extremely rude and extremely arrogant as well. In a last attempt to get Tommy to back down from him, he tried pulling the victim card and using his brain injury to excuse and shield himself from criticism, which I find to be absolutely fucking immature. On another shot from the point stream that has now been taken down, Repzilla actually called in attempting to explain himself and the messages he sent to Tommy. Oddly enough, he claimed he was drunk when he sent the messages and tried to use that as an explanation on why his comments were so inflammatory, which, while we should give him the benefit of the doubt, given his track record of lying in order to avoid direct responsibility, I can't exactly say that I believe he was telling the truth. He eventually toned down his defense and agreed that he could have handled the DMs better and says the Gabbie Hanna video video was a fuck up and that he'd do better in the future. Oddly enough, a day after the stream was taken down, Repzilla publicly walked back what he had said on the air, going as far as saying Gabbie Hanna had slandered him and that everyone on both sides were in the wrong, including the mother. I'd consider it a mini meltdown as he went on pretty much ranting in a very spiteful manner on Twitter. Tommy, of course, saw the BS he was pulling and once again grilled him for his take, as well as the fact that Rep was literally contradicting himself and was trying to appease a narrative that was objectively wrong. Repzilla did later delete these tweets, a pattern he's exhibited in the past when he wants to bury or distance himself from some controversy. At this point, Repzilla had dug himself to the bottom of a pit that he could no longer get out of, which is frustrating as he had multiple times where he could have corrected the record or just owned up to having made a bad video where he omitted critical information from his audience. However, as with every situation he lands himself in, Repzilla chose instead to tiptoe around directly addressing his wrongdoings instead of choosing to be the honest and unbiased person he claims to be. A few weeks later, Edwin fired up a live stream to go over the Gabbie Hanna situation, and Repzilla was on call with him, adding points here and there. Nicholas DeOrio saw what Edwin was saying about Gabbie and disagreed with some of his points, so he called in to talk with Edwin. The discussion quickly dissolved into Nick debating Repzilla, due to Repzilla dodging a question that Nick asked him. All throughout the debate, Repzilla attempted to drag out the conversation by inserting information irrelevant to the argument at hand. He also tried making emotional arguments as a way to paint himself in a morally superior sense by saying Nick should have brought up his issues with him in DMs rather than publicly on Twitter. If you don't want to listen to the clips of the call that are about to play, please feel free to skip ahead.
Do you think there's anything objectively wrong with reading an article and like saying that someone has a nice shirt? Like, do you think that Gabbie did anything wrong now?
Back then.
In that context, no.
In the context of like understanding what's going on, like in 2020, would you make 2021? Would you make the video you guys made in 2020?
Well, the context is different from then to now, but it would be difficult not to make that video because her reputation and her track record is just so bad. You can't.
But what does her track record have to do with the fact that she opened up an article and said a girl had a nice shirt on?
When you say it that way, the context that's not at all bad. Like you can say, "Oh, you got a point, Edwin?"
No, I'm not saying it in a specific way. I'm telling you, there is nothing controversial about that video.
No,
nothing. There's no way to look at it. There's no light that it looks good in. Like it doesn't look bad, literally, unless you add 50 other drama stories that you've probably made videos on.
The story, you have to track it back from the beginning. The story comes out. This is a story that's very public. These pictures were spread out all over social media, all over Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was being covered by Philip DeFranco, multiple other people. I covered it in a news type setting as well.
Yep.
And then, not too long after that, Gabbie Hanna, who I've also covered, and this is right around the same. And it's interesting because it was right around the same time that this Jesse Smile situation happened. So she was getting hate for that, and then she comes out and does this. So,
but comes out and does this. Like, what is this? What was her big flaw that you think she did in this video?
It's hard for me to speak on it now.
Should I play?
This is a trap. This is fully a trap. I'm letting you know that I'm trapping you.
I was thinking about should I play it or something? Or
what did she do wrong?
Let me speak on both sides of it. So it's hard for me to talk on it because I consider you a friend. I don't know how you fucking feel about me, especially I guess you think I'm a T-channel or whatever. But it's like I don't want to make you mad. I'm not trying to do that.
No, Repzilla, I don't care if you make me mad. I don't care if we're like, we can be friends after. I just want to know what Gabbie did wrong.
After right now.
Okay, so when she went over this article, she had already done multiple other things that demonstrated that she manipulates people.
There's the bias part.
Okay, but what did she do wrong in the video? What's wrong with this video?
Get into it.
Okay.
She does this, and then what she's doing is she's not paying attention. She's going through this article, and then she comes to this part of the article where it says what this article piece is about in bold. And this right around the context is that right around this time, this is a huge story. Everybody's talking about this. This hurt a lot of people. A lot of people were scarred from this. It's really sensitive. So you have two different things. It's important to know that you have the tragedy that happened.
Yep.
Then you have the Jessie Smiles thing that she's currently in a controversy for. She's not being seen in the best light.
Okay.
Because it's come out that she's manipulative and all this other stuff. She's already been drug all over by commentary channels. And then she does this. And I guess one of the things that people were upset for is like, how does she see this? Because this was such a big story. And then it makes it through editing and all this other stuff. My criticism was, I don't believe that she couldn't have seen it. I think that she saw it.
All right, so your criticism is she didn't read the article.
Yes.
Okay, you didn't read the article. You called it a murder article in your video. It's literally an article on e-girls with one tiny paragraph at the bottom of the page.
I said that she was making a video on e-girls.
No, you made a video saying she made a video on a murder article. It's in your transcript.
So many times because of you and Tommy. I've watched it over and over again, and I say Gabbie Hanna was making this video about this. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it because it's sensitive. The whole thing with the mother and the family. I feel like this is something that we shouldn't be talking about, especially now.
Consent. She thanked me for talking about it on my timeline.
I don't know if it's you guys came at me. I feel like you came at me a little bit harder than the other people. I don't know. I mean, I think it might be because I'm a little bit more easily accessible to you guys. You can just reach out and you can talk to me, which you should have did in the first place.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't operate like that. I literally know. That's literally. I don't.
Yeah,
care.
It's what's funny is you don't operate like that, but I do.
That's good, dude. You can play the morally right card here. At least I read the fucking article.
I read the article. Listen to me.
I don't think you read the article. And Doug, I thought it was
What
funny that you came in and kind of agreed with us on Tommy's stream. And now that Tommy's stream is down, you're like, Gabbie slandered me. Gabbie slandered me. Oh no, Repzilla.
Who's
no.
What's funny is whenever you're in hot water or you're hurting about something, I reach out to you in DMs and I talk to you about those things. But you don't.
Okay, but when I'm in hot water, I didn't do something as stupid as this.
Oh shit!
Nick, I told you like multiple times that I read the article.
And I don't believe you because you called it a murder article.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Okay, but like it's pretty obvious, dude. And dude, how could you possibly say it's disrespectful for her to say this girl had a nice shirt when you did a news article on this girl's death? Like literally, you have two videos, I think 3 videos, one on the apology, one talking about how it happened, and one talking about how Gabbie said her shirt was nice. Where the do you fit in this situation where you have any room to talk, my dude?
I've explained it to you. Anything I could say is going to upset you, and then that's not what I want. I don't want to piss you off because I actually respect and I care about you, and I don't want to do that.
All right, thank you. I appreciate. I really don't appreciate. I don't care. But like, I mean, you could apologize or something or whatever, dude. I don't need apologies. I don't need you to like make it easier on me, dude. You're cool. You're a cool, dude. Okay, totally fine. We don't have to talk about like how much we like each other or dislike each other. I still don't understand what Gabbie did wrong in that video.
I don't know how any other way to say it. Like, I'm not afraid of you, dude.
Because you tweeted out like we're all wrong on this one. No, it's just you.
Yeah, I'm trying to like be respectful to you here and listen to you and hear you out.
All right, dude, I don't care about the emotional shit. Can we just try to talk about the points?
What's going on?
All right, what's going on, guys?
I'm trying to talk to you about the points.
You've been acting like you've been acting
no,
like
because I don't respect any of you people. I really don't. This is ridiculous.
You people?
This isn't about
you people.
This is the most clear-cut fuck up ever on this entire website, and nobody can wrap their head around it.
Well, it's extreme, bro.
You've been acting like this even before the drama channel stuff.
Oh shit! It's getting personal. If anybody needs to tap out, do I tap out? Who's gonna tell me?
Somebody disagrees with you, you get louder or you puff up your chest and you act like you just don't want to listen to it.
Okay, then you should tell me something I'm wrong about so you can get louder, or you could say it nice and calmly and win the chat. Like, dude, I'm arguing points. You're arguing emotions. I don't care about that shit, dude.
It's even not even about emotions at this point. It's like you can't disagree with Nick or he'll come at you and your friends don't want to fight with you.
Dude, I'm so sorry you can't make an argument. You're just like literally going after me for that.
Argument, dude. You just don't want. I don't want to fight with you.
All right. Then, like, why are you engaging with the conversation? I was talking to Edwin at first.
Alright, I'm gonna interject here real quick. So essentially what Repzilla is trying to argue is that because Gabbie Hanna has done things worthy of criticism prior to making that e-girl video, it justifies Repzilla making a video saying Gabbie Hanna made a murder article, which I don't know about you, sounds completely misconstrued. I know, I sound pretty slow here. It's just, I just can't understand it. It just really shows how dishonest and biased he is. Now, while those clips showed that Repzilla was trying to circulate the conversation back to where it started in order to dodge responsibility, this next part really shows how he tries really hard to derail the argument by arguing emotions.
It just doesn't make any sense to me because you come at me so fucking hard. I don't know if that's just like, that's what you do and you can't help it, but it's just like...
Repzilla, you made a video talking about this situation, quoting a murder article, quote unquote. It's stupid as fuck.
Don't you understand, like, this situation was very high emotions when it happened and it affected so many people, and...
Do you know my problem with you, Repzilla? I'll sell it out for you really quickly, all right?
Yeah.
This is my problem with you.
Okay.
There are a lot of questionable situations with Gabbie Hanna. For example, I think one of the most criticizable ones is her going on Discord and threatening to sue children. That's probably an objectively bad thing that Gabbie Hanna's done. Perfect example to bring up. There are totally qualms you could have about Gabbie Hanna's treatment of Jesse Smiles. There's a list of things. This is one that is objectively not Gabbie's fault. And the fact that you and all these other people can't just turn around and go, I got this one wrong, means I don't give a fuck what you say on the other 11 fucking videos some of these people have on their channels, dude. Because this is literally the most clear-cut case of someone getting royally fucked over.
I'm looking at this, and my opinion is that I don't think that you can overlook this piece of the article that explains what happens in a situation when
you're
it had
disingenuous.
so much attention on it. It had so much attention on it. That's my opinion.
Dude, I respect the fact that you rebuilt your channel after Primink, and I gave you a chance because I was pretty skeptical of you, but that's a dog shit answer, dude.
Well, why? Like, I don't get it. I'm sitting here telling you my opinion. I'm listening to your opinion. I accept that you think that people, like, oh, she didn't see it, and there's no, that's...
There's nothing disrespectful about that video.
I just don't, like...
All right.
If you or anybody else, it's like I could be mean to you. I can't be mean.
Nick, I mean, Rep, you got.
I can't do it. Like,
Rep, you can't. Nick is just a dude. Just a fat dude in New York, bro. Who cares?
The real reason Repzilla says that if Nick was anybody else, he could be mean to him is because, let's be honest, Repzilla is afraid of Nick. Repzilla doesn't have a good counter-argument to Nick's statements, and Nick is arguing off of fact and logic. Repzilla is not. I don't know about any of you, but I'm also getting really frustrated and bothered by hearing how whiny Repzilla sounds in this call. I mean, he's 32 years old, yet he sounds like a freshman in high school. Also, Repzilla, I don't know if you understand this, but just because you're friendly with someone does not mean that you are automatically friends.
For me, it's like, it feels so personal. Okay. Because you're coming at me like this, right? When I know you said that's what you do, but the DMs are open, and many times in the past, like, I come to you, I talk to you about situations, I've tried to help you out in situations, and I've helped you to the best of my ability to work out different types of scenarios. But when it's on the shoes on the other foot, you don't afford me that same type of respect. Like, you go completely to public to Twitter, and it's just like, dude, like, I'm just like speaking how I feel. Like, if your ass would have came to me and you said how you felt, I would have been much more understanding. But you come to me publicly like that, and it's just like, why? Why would you do this to me when I would, like, every other time I've came to you, privately? I just don't understand it. I even tried to go to Tommy the first time privately to talk to him about this shit, and he said, nope, this is content. And I'm like, God damn, I can't trust these motherfuckers.
at all.
Alright, Repzilla, let's correct the record. No, Tommy did not see the messages you sent at first and instantly thought that the conversation was gonna be free content for him. He only went public with the DMs to show how dishonest and manipulative you are.
Are you sure you don't want to say anything about the situation before? Like, this is like your outro. So, like, do you want to say anything about Gabbie?
Okay,
like,
so
I'm not being a
just to be
dick.
clear,
Like, you didn't say anything about Gabbie, so you want
just to be clear. Well, just to be clear, Repzilla's taking it personally. Gabbie, Nick is
Alright,
trying
so
to
we're
make
off of Gabbie, and now we're on personal drama.
Yeah, because Nick is making stay on Gabbie.
Okay, I just want to let the record show that you used your outro statement to not talk about what we're talking about. But all right, so my biggest issue with you, to be honest, I was skeptical when I first met you, and I was totally cool with you. We let you on. We brought you on multiple live streams. You know exactly how our community works. You've come around and hung out with us when we've had big streams and stuff like that, and small streams. I appreciate everything you've done for the channel and stuff like that. And I've had reserve judgment because I know some shit, obviously. And I think, to be honest, for the most part, I thought you were a good, outstanding. I thought you were like, I thought you changed for the better after the whole situation with Primink. Now, based off of this entire situation, I got bad vibes when I saw you made a absolutely objectively bad video that's literally like on par with some of these ridiculous videos that were made about Gabbie. This is a public video you made, and I reserve the right to publicly criticize it when it's literally the topic of conversation that I'm talking about. And I'm sorry if you think that I should have taken it to your DMs, but even if I took it to your DMs, I can fucking promise you I was going to talk about it because it was that bad. Okay, just being clear with you. Now, after having this conversation with you, watching you dodge every fucking question, that I didn't take the entire fucking night, and not be able to take any accountability for the situation at all, I realized that I was right for tweeting it out the way that I tweeted it out. I do not feel bad at all. I do not care. I don't have a personal problem with you, no matter how much you want to drag that up. I have one thing that I have, and it's me trying to be objectively true when I make statements and stuff like that. And me telling the truth means more to me than your feelings. So I'm really sorry that this hurt you on a personal level. I didn't mean to, but I don't think me being cool with you on a few live streams is the same as me having to go and not criticize you publicly. I don't think you should put that on me. I don't think that's entirely fair. And I think that it's not above criticism publicly to just be
think
cool
that
with me.
I definitely didn't say that anything was above criticism. You can criticize me all you want, and you're
apparently I can't.
No, you can do that. That's fine. But you're saying I'm dodging accountability.
Yes.
In what way?
You tweeted out this is everyone's fault. Everyone's wrong in this situation. No, you guys are wrong in this situation. Gabbie is not wrong in this situation.
And what, dude, right now at this point, everybody that is wrong in the situation, we're wrong for even trying to bring it up. It's not right. It adds to the whole situation.
Well, I mean, I personally got to thank you for saying that you guys are all being pieces of shit.
And that's just the briefest summary of the debate. It was a total of 45 minutes long. If you are interested, I am going to leave a link to the full debate in the description below, so please feel free to check it out if you so wish. What's also worth noting is the minute Nick left the call, Boblax entered the call and asked Repzilla the same question Nick did, to which Rep walked back his stance again. First he walks back his stance on Tommy's stream, then he walks back the walk back when the stream got taken down, doubles down on the walk back when arguing with DeOrio, and then walks back on his walk back that he walked back in the beginning. Jesus Christ, this is a mindfuck. What was frustrating was Boblax literally asked the same question Nick did at the beginning, and had to coddle Repzilla the rest of the time he was on in order to get a response.
Would you, make that video today? Do you regret the stuff you said in that video about the initial situation?
Well, you watched it recently, so let's see what you think.
Yeah, are you oh, I wish I said something differently? Obviously you wouldn't have called it a murder article if you were to redo it and stuff like that.
In 2020, would you make 2021? Would you make the video you guys made in 2020?
Rep, this was the same question you were asked 42 minutes earlier. You wasted all that time just to end up back in square one. After Edwin's stream, it was pretty apparent that Repzilla lost favor within the commentary sphere on YouTube, with those he was friendly with openly criticizing him.
I love you, Repzilla, if you happen to be watching this, but my dude, There are plenty of times when you'll cover topics that I simply do not agree with, and this is just one of them. Like, bro, like, I know you don't consider yourself a T channel, but your viewpoints very much align themselves with T channels.
And those previously critical of him having their voices heard by a greater number of people.
Well, after everyone has dropped calling this guy a pedophile, Repzilla, like the fucking weasel he is, shows up and calls him worse than MiniLadd.
Yeah.
How? Why? How much fucking brain damage could you literally fucking have to compare a 17-year-old dating a 19-year-old and say that is worse than a grown fucking man abusing a minor and getting nudes and threatening to kill himself if she doesn't fucking continue? How? How the fuck did that make any sense?
Alright, this is a short one, but it's important to mention nonetheless. Repzilla likes to preach about how using other people's struggles for views is unacceptable, yet he seems to have no issue with making tons of videos on Eugenia Cooney. And this isn't anything old, because at the time of me recording this, he made a video on Eugenia 3 days ago. And I'm pissed, and you'll understand why.
And although I can't connect Eugenia directly to this movement, I do feel like it's important to talk about.
Then Repzilla, why is Eugenia's name the first 2 words of your title? Why is her image blown up on your thumbnail? Explain that to me if you cannot tie her directly to what you're talking about. It is okay to talk about her when it's relevant, but it suggests that the video is about her. And this is really fucking scummy, because I thought this was already established, but making videos on Eugenia Cooney does nothing to help the problem, despite the fact that Repzilla claims to bring awareness. It's like, dude, bringing awareness is one thing that takes up one video, but you have a playlist on your channel of 13 videos of her. The only reason you have Eugenia Cooney's face in your thumbnail and her name in your title is so you can bait clicks. Aside from the Eugenia Cooney stuff, Repzilla has continued to have an unending thread of terrible, dishonest videos. This ranged from insinuating a James Charles Instagram post had sexual undertones because he was watching a streamer playing Bed Wars.
About to get glam featuring Real Purple playing Bed Wars to keep me entertained. Bed Wars, which obviously this was not his intention to feed into these type of alleged things, but given the context, that's exactly what it did. And you would think that somebody who thinks things through would have noticed this, but that's not what happened in this situation.
Dude, shut the fuck up. There was nothing wrong with that post. You're just being super fucking dishonest and disingenuous. He hinted that the Onision investigation was flawed because he knew more than they did, without backing the claim with evidence.
Now, it's important before we go forward and start breaking down this report to understand that this report is made objectively from an officer placing out the facts as they are. It's very impartial. So a lot of you guys who have become very emotionally invested in this, as have I, you're going to read this stuff because us as a community, we know a lot more of the details in this situation that the officers really don't know. This is somebody that's coming in objectively, not biased, not that is impartial, and they're just getting the facts straight, and they present them in this case report.
He talks about taking an objective approach as if it's a bad thing. Holy fuck, how hard did that car hit you, Repzilla? I mean, Jesus. He says that bias and emotional investment is a good thing in a situation like this, and he never backs it up with evidence. Oh my fucking God. He also made another Gabbie Hanna video, citing Trisha Paytas of all people as a reliable source. To make matters worse, he made a video about Keemstar's new girlfriend, in which he calls her a 20-year-old child in the title. He later changed it when he got backlash, but his excuse was that he was, quote, sleepy. And when Keemstar found out and simply laughed at how dishonest the title was, Repzilla decided to tell his audience on his community tab that Keem made an irresponsible tweet about him that was sending people to harass him. This dude doesn't have a fucking backbone. All Keem did was laugh at your poor coverage And once again, Repzilla, you always have to push the blame onto anyone but yourself. It's also pretty bold of you to say that harassment is getting sent your way when you weaponize your audience all the fucking time. Despite saying numerous times that he'll strive to do better, Repzilla has proven himself incapable of doing so. He has proven himself to be a pathological liar, a manipulator, and someone who is willing to hurt anyone around him if the outcome means his reputation stays intact. He's constantly leaked other people's personal information, sent harassment towards smaller creators, abused the copyright system to silence criticism, and tried encouraging other channels to make hit pieces on a mentally unstable woman to boost his credibility. Whenever he argues with someone, he throws red herrings and strawman arguments in order to avoid talking about and acknowledging his faults. And most importantly, he hasn't ever addressed any of these situations head on. When he does apologize, he finds the quickest opportunity to walk it back and then weaponizes his audience. He's willing to dole out criticism towards others, but the minute he's on the receiving end, he tries to silence it. He likes to talk about himself like he's better than people like Gabbie Hanna, yet he is no better, and I'd say he's fucking worse. To be brutally honest, looking at all the things he's done, Repzilla doesn't seem to have the maturity to handle talking about the topics that he covers on his channel, and that's pretty fucking sad considering I'm talking about a dude who's 32 fucking years old. It's a miracle that his channel was able to bounce back the way it did after Primink's video. The fact that I ever supported this guy with the impression that he was well read without looking into his past makes me feel very embarrassed to say the very least. Now that I've said my piece, let me know what y'all have to say in the comments below. I want to give a special shout out to Marsii and Crows of Judgement, as they have both covered this situation far longer than anyone I've seen. I would appreciate if you checked them out, as well as all the other creators I referenced in this video. Until then, I'll see you in the next one, guys. I'm out. Peace.